I am Yorshka, captain of the Darkmoon Knights.
Hey everyone. Today I'm going to share with you my experience looking at the latest project from IV Works, the Ashes set. Ashes is a Dark Souls 3 inspired keyboard accessory kit, consisting of the Ashes keycaps, the Darkmoon Switches, some metal artisans, the Ariandel and Darkroot Deskmats, and the Ashes cable. The group buy for Ashes ran from the 1st of July 2022 until the 31st of July 2022, and started around the time I myself got into the keyboard hobby. Like I'm sure many of you were when you first entered the hobby, I was skeptical about the sheer price of the components. The keycaps themselves were $90 USD, or around 175 AUD. While I've grown to realise the finer reasonings behind this, at the time of the group buy I wasn't ready to make such a big commitment. That, in combination with the fact that personally the keycaps didn't appeal to me, I decided to stick with the Darkmoon Switches and the Ariandel Deskmat, which is what I'll be reviewing today. To clarify, the Australian vendor was limited to the keycaps, deskmats, and switches, which is also why I didn't purchase any of the other items. Firstly, we have the Ariandel Deskmat. It is a 40 by 90 cm mat with an anti-slip rubber base. It comes packaged in this cotton carrying bag, which is something I've never seen before. It unrolls without any curling or kinking, the quality is impressive, and the stitching is honestly flawless. This desk mat takes clear inspiration from the first DLC of Dark Souls 3, Ashes of Ariandel, and features an incredibly beautiful mountain range in an artistic oil painting art style. Up close, the individual brushstrokes stand out, adding to the quality of this painted world IV Works was no doubt attempting to create. Personally, I've never really liked the feeling of the common desk mat. I can't really describe it, but when my fingers touch the fabric, I get that sensation akin to fingernails on a chalkboard or walking in wet socks. It's really just an ick, I guess. For this group buy, however, I decided to test my resolve. And to my surprise, this desk mat is ick-free. For the price I paid of $25 US, it is far superior to anything else I've been able to find on sites like Amazon. The Darkmoon Switches are a reference to one of the covenants found in both Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3, Blades of the Darkmoon. They are a unique linear switch which uses a thicker than average pole for increased feedback without a harsh bottom out. The switches consist of a 5-pin HPE Milky housing, a thick pole POM linear stem. They have a 3.9mm travel and contain a 22mm double-stage 63.5 gram spring. These switches are manufactured with Texi and come completely stock without any factory lube. There is minimal stem wobble, both north-south facing and east-west facing, to the point where any pressure just moves the entire switch. And these switches do not require filming. Here's where the fun begins. For your pleasure and my pain, I'll be testing these switches stock in 3 different keyboards, the 910, the Sequence by Parallel, and the U80A by RamaWorks to compare how these switches sound across board and plate material. Furthermore, I'll be applying a small coating of 205 grade 0 to the switches to see how they sound lubed and if there is a noticeable difference when recording. So, without further ado, here are the sound tests. Okay, with these 3 sound tests out of the way, you should have a pretty good understanding of what these switches sound like stock. In my opinion, these switches have a distinct dense sound signature, most likely due to the thicker pole, and, as expected of a dry switch, have a lot of scratch. Personally, I don't mind this, but let's see what they sound like after being lubed. Here's a shorter but easy comparison to follow. While minimal, I personally feel that the lube improved both the sound and feel of the switches. It removed a decent amount of the scratch that was present with only a light coating and, in my opinion, deafened the sound as the switch returns. To wrap it up, these switches present a unique experience with the thick pole stem. They are audibly deep, so if you enjoy louder switches, you'll most likely enjoy these. Since lubing these switches and slowly breaking them in over the past week, the smoothness in which they travel has developed, and at a 3.9mm travel distance, they won't feel uncomfortable for those of you who are used to the standard 4mm travel. Now, I know the wait for this group buy, compared to others, is short. It definitely did not feel that way. As you may have been able to figure out, I am a huge Dark Souls fanboy, even going as far as getting the Firekeeper tattooed on me. And discovering a project which combined one interest I had with another provided the perfect introduction for me into the world of group buying. Thank you to Joseph and the team at IV Works for creating such a beautiful set. I can't wait to see what you come up with next. Thank you so much to everyone who watched and commented on my previous video. As you may know, I had a segment in the video where I talked about my struggles getting the O-ring to fit on my 910. Many wonderful people commented that this was due to the fact that I wasn't using clip-in stabilizers. With some recommendations in hand, I picked up these TX stabilizers, which were easy enough to replace, and sure enough, the O-ring fit. So for all of you who made it this far, here's an additional sound test. This time I'm using 67 gram tangerines, lubed with 205 grade 0, on the polycarbonate plate with GMK Striker 2. I hope you enjoy.